It's that moment again, the one you dream of every night. La seule chose qui te préoccupe, c'est la gloire. Le cheminement de la réussite, of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows. Les sacrifices que tu fais, quand toutes les chances sont contre toi. When you can't push one more second, chase the glory. Visez haut.
Well, a good Sunday evening. Welcome inside the Saville Community Sport Centre. It is U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball, our final day of competition. We have two fantastic matchups for you tonight. First up, for bronze, it is the number 4 seed Laval Rouge or taking on the number 6 seed, the Queens Gales. My name is Mark Rougeau. Please be joined alongside Kira Lyons as well as Eric Fawcett. Last night, Saskatchewan was able to dispatch of Laval 64-57, and Carleton dominated Queens by a score of 74-40. That was the first loss Laval suffered all season long. So Leah Sophie Verrett had 12 points to go along with 4 rebounds. Great start for the Rougeaux. Unfortunately, they just couldn't hold on.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that stuck out to me about that team is how resilient they were, though. We talked about how sometimes, well, often Sask gets out on a decent lead and then just kind of runs away with it. That was never the case with Laval. Anytime they needed a big shot, they hit it. Anytime they needed to stop, they got it. And they kept themselves in that game the entire time. So it was really impressive to watch, and I'm really excited to see this matchup.
The Rougeaux are looking for their first medal at U Sports since a silver in 2019, and tonight they'll go up against the Queens Gales. Queens is looking, they won silver last year and bronze in 2022, and Julia Chadwick had another double-double last night. She has just been a revelation to watch this weekend.
Yeah, the double-double is inevitable. You see the amount of rebounds she puts up regularly, the amount that they play through her in the low block. It just seems like she's inevitable to put up another 2020 game. And something I really appreciate watching Queens is the way that they bring a bit of a distinct style that's a little bit different than a lot of the teams here. And playing through Julia Chadwick at either kind of that trail 5 position or out of the low block, they really make playing through their posts a priority. And it's going to make for a really interesting matchup here with Laval, who's a little bit more guard-oriented.
You know, both these teams have had quite the season to get to this point, and I understand there's a bit of disappointment that they're not playing in the later game tonight, but Kira, I'll start with you. What am I trying to say? How hard is it to get up for a bronze medal game?
I mean, all the teams that get here, you have to have a certain level of compete and desire to play the game, and you play the game to win, right? So, I mean, as disappointing as it is, sport is about having a short memory and focusing on where you're at and in the moment, and I think that, the best teams in the country are going to prove that those things are what make you successful, so I don't think it's that hard. It's an opportunity to go home with some hardware and also end your season on a win, and there are very few teams that get to do that, and then you get to build on it for the next season. So I don't think it's that hard. I don't think they'd be here if it would be.
For the bronze medal game,
and Eric, just to build
here,
off on that
the
point,
Queens
that was the first loss
University
Gales!
I think so, and that's one of those things where when you haven't seen them lose, you don't know how they're going to respond. But I think kind of even the swagger that they played with, they seem like, when you look at especially some of those guards, it just seems like if you're going to play rock, paper, scissors with them, that they would get competitive about it, and a quick best of 7 would turn into a best of 9 and so on, and not want to end. So I think that's almost a bit where their youth is almost maybe a benefit to them. They play with that kind of enthusiasm and a joy to be here. So I do not think motivation is going to be an issue.
It is the number 4 seed Laval taking on the number 6 seed Queens. Bronze at the U Sports Final 8 is up for grabs. We'll take a quick pause for the land acknowledgement, and we'll be back with starting lineups and keys to the game. You're watching the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship on CBC Sports.
An act of reconciliation, and we honor those
At this time, we'd ask that you please rise if you are able and remove your hats for the singing of our national anthem, performed by Lonnie Nickel.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée de plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Let's take a look at the starting five for both
Introducing
teams. Let's
first
start with
the starting lineup for the Queens University
Queens, their starting five. It
Gales.
will be number 1, Haley Barbieri.
Number 1,
Number 4,
Haley
Bella Gaudette. Number 7, Emma
Barbieri.
Welch. Number 21, Julia Chadwick.
Number 4,
and number 23,
Bella
Bridget Mulholland. Here, I'll start with you.
Gaudette.
What is the key to victory for Queens tonight?
Number 7, Emma
I mean, I think it's quite similar to what their game prep for Carleton was last night. Really try and slow down the game. They want to have that interior presence, and they want to kind of
And the
control the
captain,
pace in
number
comparison to the high
23,
speed of what Laval likes to play. So control the tempo and, you know, play through their post like they want
Head
to and
coach
use
for
that
the
to their
Gales,
advantage.
Claire
And
Meadows.
Eric, if Queens wants to bring home a bronze, what do they have to do tonight?
Yeah, of course we talk about Julia Chadwick, what she can do on the inside, but at some point these guards are going to have to step up defensively against the Laval backcourt that can really fill it up. We saw kind of that slash and kick game be so successful for Laval yesterday, and it's going to be on these guards to keep the ball in front of them, keep things out of the middle, and hold things down that way.
I totally misheard you. I thought you asked me about Queens. So for Laval, it's win the rebounding battle and play with pace.
It is loud in here, so don't sweat it. Let's take a look at the starting five for Laval. No changes this entire week, and it's Leah Sophie Verrette. It's been really fun to watch. Frederic Beaudry-Blais, Brinley Holt, Tara Ambert, and Sabrine Khalifi. Since you already got your key, I'll jump straight to Eric. What's the key to victory tonight for Laval?
Yeah, I think that they're going to, you know, their front court depth's going to be tested a little bit. They've got to keep Queens off the glass for sure, but at the same time, we saw yesterday what makes them successful when they're playing their best basketball. It was getting paint touches, kick out, extra, and it just seemed like the ball always found open shooters, and they need to keep that rhythm, keep finding those open shots that they've been hitting all year long.
All right,
set to
fans.
go. Two more games to go in what's been a
for the
fantastic weekend of
2024
hoops here
U
at the
Sports
Saville Community
Women's
Sport Centre.
Basketball
Laval wearing their red
Bronze medal
uniforms.
game.
Queens wearing their gold uniforms with a navy trim. Mulholland set to take the tip against Tara Ambert. Bronze is on the line. Someone's going home with some hardware. And one last meeting of the officials. Thumbs up. Let's do it. Bronze is on the line. Laval versus Queens. We thank you so much for tuning in wherever you are in Canada, watching us on CBC Sports. Leah Sophie Verrette with speed kicks it out to Khalifi, puts it on the floor to Beaudry-Blais. She spins in traffic, looks for help, back to Khalifi. And our first travel of the game called with 16 seconds in.
Lots of travels called this weekend. We talked
Has
a little
been,
bit about it yesterday, and sometimes it gets called differently throughout the year sometimes, and then you show up and they're really sticky on it, and so it's really tough to adjust.
Errant pass there, it's still collected by Barbieri. Cuts through traffic, and with the left hand can't finish, however, she is fouled. That will send Queens to the line 28 seconds in. Barbieri, her first trip to the line tonight. It can be a little intimidating when the gym just goes hauntingly quiet when you're trying to shoot free throws. You're used to shooting with noise.
Yeah, I don't know what's worse, when you're getting like taunted or when it just goes totally silent.
She goes 1 for 2.
1 and 2 made from the line for number 1, Haley Barbieri.
That would kind of be a sneaky low-key taunt. Just go super
I've seen
silent.
it. I've seen it. And I've seen it work really well.
Verrett hands it off to Beaudry-Blais, to Khalifi. Aimbear, Holt. Nice dish to Aimbear, and she makes a nice finish, nice pass, and an even better finish, Laval out in front.
They execute their stuff so well. As much as we talk about them in transition and, you know, scoring at a high pace and really pushing the tempo, when they just decide they're going to run their sets, they do it so well.
Mulholland for 3.
Pointer, number 23.
You can see when they put Chadwick as the screener, it's going to be a roll. If it's Mulholland, it's usually that pick and pop, and you can start to see on the first 2 possessions just how much those different front court players bring.
Verrett drives right at her defender, spins, and that's blocked. Welt's got a fingertip on that. She moves it quickly to Mulholland as Holt almost intercepted that. Gaudette on the floor. Chadwick takes the scenic route. What a tough play by Julia Chadwick. She's been doing
showing
that
the
all
strength
weekend
under the
long.
hoop.
It's a 6-2
Number 21,
lead.
Julia Chadwick.
Khalifi, that's our second travel under 2 minutes into this one. Mulholland to inbound. Queens won silver at this tournament last year and bronze the year before. And a foul called against Sabrine Khalifi. This is the largest lead for Queens since the quarterfinal. Still very early on in this one, but you have to be thrilled with the first 2 minutes if you're a Gales supporter. Barbieri. Chadwick. Welts. 5 to go in the shot clock. Chadwick loses the handle, and it's going to be Laval ball. Heads up play there by Holt. With speed, she charges, goes right up against 2 Queens defenders. And a foul called against Emma Welts. Her first. Bit of a stop and start beginning to this first quarter. Mulholland on the inbound. To Welts. Gaudette directing traffic. Barbieri. Chadwick for 3. Haven't seen that much this tournament, but makes no mistake. A 3-ball.
Pointer.
9-7.
Queens, number 21.
I really like seeing the confidence from Chadwick early. Last night was such a struggle, like not just for her, obviously she still had, you know, good stats, but just a really tough game. And so it's nice to see her come out with a little bit of fire.
Aimbear hands it off to Beaudry-Blais, and Chadwick just a little too aggressive, foul called. Do want to mention last night an injury to Laura Donovan for Queens. She's not in the lineup, but she is on the bench. She was walking under her own power. Kind of a scary incident late in the game yesterday, so good to see her on the bench. Of course, she'd want to be suiting up with her teammates, but nice to see she can still support. Hate to see a player go to any point in the game, but especially when the game is already out of reach. And Chadwick with a steal. Moves it to Mulholland. Queens with speed. Barbieri. Nice dish to Chadwick, and underhand layup.
Oh, I think they missed a travel there.
Might have been the first of the tournament.
Bad one. No.
Beaudry-Blais. Verrett directing traffic. It's been a lot of fun watching Verrett play ball this weekend. 5'3", and it doesn't matter. She lays in. She plays like she's 7'3" sometimes. Just a bulldog on both ends of the floor.
So much confidence.
So much. And you're playing in the Sea of Giants, and she certainly doesn't play to her height. She plays much bigger than her size. It's been a treat to watch. Chadwick backs down Aimbear. And no shot as a travel is called. And we're going to have a substitution for Laval as Elodie Lajoie checks in for the first time tonight.
She hit some big threes against Sask in that semifinal. Just timely ones. Every single time that she put one up and went in, it was just at a big moment to make sure that, you know, Sask didn't get away on them. Dangerous.
Belland, or excuse me, that was Beaudry play.
Laval's getting anything they want out of this dribble handoff into a ball screen. This is the last 2 plays where it's just been a ball handler getting all the way to the rim.
Welts. Gaudette. Downloaded Chadwick. She fires it back to Welts. 6 to go in the shot clock. 4. She's got to do something quick.
Oh,
Spins,
nice.
fires, left hand. Nice execution. Couldn't finish. Here comes Brinley Holt with a burst of speed. Holt in the corner for 3. That is good. Real heads-up play. She goes coast to coast.
Speaking of
4-3.
confidence, first year doing stuff like that, she is a problem and is going to be a problem for this league for a while.
Chadwick called for the Travels, tried to force her way to the bucket. Timeout called with 5:15 remaining. You are watching the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship on CBC Sports.
Sharon Koo is a proud supporter of U Sports and Canadian student athletes.
Sharon soutient fièrement U-Sport et les étudiants athlètes canadiens.
Nike Team, proud to be the official performance apparel provider of U Sports, encouraging all student athletes to just do it. Go to usports.ca after the event to purchase the authorized commemorative Nike Championship apparel.
Nike Team, fier d'être le fournisseur officiel des vêtements de performance du sport. Nous
Hey,
encourageons tous les
fans,
étudiants
check out
athlètes Just Do It. Après
shop.usports.ca
l'événement,
for this
rendez-vous
week's
sur
promotional item from the
usport.ca
Nike
pour
Team
obtenir les
collection.
articles
Visitez le
souvenirs officiels du championnat produit
shop.usport.ca
par
pour en
Nike.
profiter de la promotion de la semaine de la
Chase the
collection
glory
Nike
during the
Team.
U Sports 24 National Championship from coast to coast
They
to
don't
coast.
do it for the
Follow
likes
at U-Sports.CA
or for the
on Twitter
shares.
and Instagram
They
for the
do it
latest
for the fun
updates.
of it.
Vidéo lors des
thrill.
24 championnats canadiens
For the
U-Sport à travers le
camaraderie.
pays. Suivez-nous sur les
For the
réseaux Twitter
memories.
et Instagram à
CBC
U-Sport.ca.
Sports, just because they love it.
Welcome back inside the Saville Community Sport Centre. 5:15 remaining in the first in our bronze medal matchup. Queens out in front, 11-2. Queens got out in front, and Laval's been able to fight back in the last couple minutes.
Yeah, they can score in bunches. Even in that game against SAS, we talked about how the lead was never big enough because all of a sudden you've got so many three-point weapons out there that can just score really quickly, and that lead can diminish in span of no time.
As the fans continue to pile in, we've had terrific crowds this entire weekend. So very cool to see. And for two teams without many local connections, still nice to see the Edmonton community supporting. That three-pointer by Lajoie is off the mark. Gaudette with the rebound. Moves it quickly to Mulholland. Welts. For 3. Had times put a little too much on that, and Verrett with the rebound. Goes right at Welts and goes off the glass too strong and fights. Fighting with McFarland for that. Really a size mismatch between those two players. It's Allie Smith. Got some playing time late in that semifinal yesterday. Nice pass to McFarland as Holt one-on-one against Welts. Good job there by Welts to not take the foul, but a nice finish by Holt.
Yeah, used her body really well there to be able to finish.
Mulholland to Smith to McFarland. Verrett watching Welts. Three-pointer by McFarland off the mark. Lajoie there for the rebound, and Verrett. Head up, strong pass to Lajoie. Verrett. Eight to go. Deadlocked at 11. Verrett tries to do it herself. Shot doesn't go, but she is fouled. And that will send Leah Sophie Verrett to the line for the first time tonight.
Yeah, Verrett did a good job baiting her there. Like, she really didn't, she had such a size advantage there. She really didn't have to drop her hand down like that. All she had to do was just have her arms up and probably would have got the block, but Verrett baited her, and she's really good at that for being so small and getting in tight like that.
I know we've said it a boatload this week, but so impressed with her game. Uses every single inch of her frame and just so tenacious.
It's a bulldog.
Yeah,
Deux pour deux pour la capitaine Léa Sophie Verrett pour les Rouges et Or.
Verrett played last night, as I scour my notes, she played just under 39 minutes in a 40-minute game. And I imagine she'll play something very similar to that tonight with bronze on the line. Smith, 3.5 remaining in the first, finds Chadwick. Chadwick tumbles as Julia Denis checks in for the first time tonight. Nice to see some of the younger players getting some action in this bronze medal matchup. Khalifi, across half for the Rouge et Or. Baudry Blais to Lajoie. Her three-pointer is short.
Oh, that looked good from here, too.
And Smith with the rebound and gets bumped from behind. And the guilty party is Catherine Champagne, playing for the first time this weekend, wearing number 10 for Laval. Welts to her left with room. Couldn't get that to fall, but she does a good job drawing the foul. And that's going to send Emma Welts to the line.
One of the things that this Queens offense is really going to need is some supporting scoring, with Donovan going down, who's one of their lead scorers, and having Chadwick be such a huge presence. They're going to have some other girls step up and be aggressive. So it's nice to see that aggression coming from the perimeter.
Welts goes 2 for 2.
Smooth shooter, 2 of 2 made from the free throw line, number 7, Emma Welts.
Sabrine Khalifi. Stolen by Chadwick. She's showing why she's the OUA Defensive Player of the Year.
Transition with a mission, number 21, Julia Chadwick.
OUA first team All-Star on top of Defensive Player of the Year. Doing it at both ends of the floor. Khalifi. Baudry Blais spins, goes into traffic. Maybe a late whistle there, however a foul is called. With 2:32 remaining in the first quarter.
Again, you can see that drive and kick game. It's long closeouts, and this is where Laval is so dangerous. And at some point, some of these Queens defenders will have to try to step up and keep these guards out of the paint, because this is where we started to see them get going offensively, and a lot of those drives turning into wide open threes. But right now, it's just a lot of shots at the rim that are layups, or in this case, fouls.
2 pour Frédéric Baudry.
As
Blais
Léa Sophie Verrett with a
de
quick
Laval,
break,
Rouge et Or.
checks back in. Here comes Emma Welts.
There's this Iverson cut that starts all of their actions, it looks like, that cutter across the free throw line.
Chadwick.
Oh,
nice
play.
dish. And a finish. Michaela McFarland
nice
in perfect
finish,
position.
number
But a really
13,
nice assist from Chadwick.
Michaela McFarland.
Khalifi, fadeaway jumper. Chadwick there for the rebound. Poke loose. Fortunately for her, Welts was in perfect position for that. Chadwick takes a look, fires a pass to McFarland. A little too steppy there as she called for the travel. There's a lot more substitutions for Laval early in this one. Khalifi takes a seat as Brinley Holt checks back in.
Lots of fouls.
Yeah.
So making sure nobody's collecting too many early.
Three-pointer by Verrett is good. Puts her team back out in front. Verrett has 7.
It's a crafty play call. Get a shooter off a stagger. As soon as the shooter catches it, she pitches right back to the passer, which was Verrett, and we know that she can knock down shots. So that was really nice play design there from Laval.
Chadwick misses the 3 but gets her own board. And fires at just a little bit out of reach for Barbier, so it will be Laval ball with 1:20 left in the first. And some substitutions on both sides as Tara Aimbert checks back in for Laval.
One of the things that was really impressive and noticed in that Sask game was the lack of turnovers from Laval.
Yeah.
Right, both teams, Sask and Laval, they really take care of the ball. And hopefully Queens is able to sort of figure that out. They've turned the ball over quite a lot in this first quarter. That's something that wears on you. We talked about that in the semi with Laval and Sask. It wears on you, right? Those mistakes wear on you, and Laval is one of those teams that will take advantage of those extra possessions if you give them the option. And so Queens need to start taking care of the ball a little bit and giving themselves a chance to actually look at a shot.
Gaudette, corner 3, too strong. Holt there for the rebound. Under a minute remaining in the first, a 1-point ball game. Holt. Nice dish to Aimbear in the paint, up and under, can't go Chadwick. Her 3rd rebound of the game already. Brennan to Smith, Barbieri. Chadwick for 3. It's gonna be an air ball. Smith can't quite keep it in bounds.
Good try.
So Laval, shot clock turned off. They'll have 19.6 seconds to possibly extend their 1-point lead.
Interested to see what they run here.
Verrett. I think whatever they run, number 4 will certainly have a play in it.
Yeah.
She zips it out to Holt. That shot doesn't go. Now Queens are going to have to move Smith from half court, and that's going to be short. And at the end of the first quarter of our bronze
Score
medal
after 1 quarter
matchup,
of play,
Laval
Laval leading
has
Queens by a score of
18-17
18-17.
lead.
Fans, get ready to score big with the
You
Watch
are
Your Ball
watching the
50-50
esports
cash
Final Eight
raffle.
women's
Win up to
basketball
$10,000
medal
and support
matchup on
Pandas
CBC
basketball
Sports.
student athletes. Just scan the QR code posters around the gym or catch one of our A-team members for your chance to win big. And on that note, we're going to hand it over to the A-team.
You have the power to inspire and impact the planet.
Laval with a slim 1-point advantage at the end of the first quarter. Mark Michaud joined alongside by Akira Lyons and Eric Fawcett. A really back and forth affair. Both of these teams came to play, and as we're through 1 quarter, Eric, I'll start with you. What was, I guess, the main storyline through the first quarter of this one?
Yeah, it looks like the offense is a little bit ahead of the defense. Really good execution from both sides. And again, with a lot of teams at this tournament that like to run and gun a little bit more, play out a little bit more just out of concepts. And loosely, these are 2 teams that like to run a lot of sets and play methodically. And I think that they've both been able to find some things that have worked, whether it be Laval coming out of some of their dribble handoff into ball screen stuff, or whether it's playing out a kind of a low post series a little bit from Queens. I think both teams are going to be pretty happy with how they executed offensively, but defensively might be a bit of a different story.
And Kira, I'll ask you the same question. Either what's jumping out to you from a storyline point of view, you know, as a coach, or this box score, what jumped out to you in the first quarter?
A few things. I think, like, once Chadwick took a seat, I thought the Queens offense really slowed down. They didn't have the aggression or the confidence to attack the rim. Didn't have that inside presence, especially with Donovan down this game. When she came back in, game started to change, right? They know that they want her to be getting looks, and she's quite confident with it. The turnovers, though, like actually Laval had more than I was expecting. At 5 that quarter, and Queens had 7, and it was really limiting, you know, their possessions. I'm assuming that Laval probably going to slow down with that a little bit because they do take care of the ball very well, and hopefully Queens does as well.
Back underway in the second quarter. Emma Welch for Queens. Chadwick. In that quarterfinal for Queens, Chadwick had 25 points along with 27 rebounds. She's not on her way to 27 rebounds tonight, but she already has 4. As Gaudette's 3.
Great ball movement, though. In, out, extra pass. Like, that was really good.
Verrett. With space. To Lajoie. Finds Aimbear. Hands it back to Verrett. Her 3-pointer is good. And she looks at her bench.
Did that curve? Like, that looked like it curved. Like, what kind of spin was on that thing?
It's the shooter's touch if I've ever seen it.
Chadwick looking for a response, put a little too much on that. Pick one off a foot, so it will be Queen's ball. Verrett has 10 points early on in this one. 2 for 2 from 3 is Leah Sophie Verrett.
You can see this uphill dribble handoff, really popular in modern basketball to get threes, and really nice look to get Verrett open.
Chadwick, 2. They're gonna have to move. Good ball movement. She's got to fire. She can't do it. Welts. And a shot clock violation, so it will be Laval ball. And the Rouge et Or have a 4-point advantage.
It's one of those like rule of thumb things. I don't know if this is still, but normally if the ball is in your hand with 3 or less, it's you. It's got to be you, right? Like it's, even if it's not the best option, it's the only option because that's what happens when you try and make that extra pass. And we saw that with Laval yesterday too.
It's been really a theme all weekend is Brindley holds the three-pointer. And the shot clock, we had some issues with the shot clock this weekend. It was off for a bit, but the issues we've seen on the floor has nothing to do with the shot clock. We've seen violations more than I've seen all season. I've seen in the last 4 days. Barbieri for 3. Off the mark. Holt with the rebound, hands it off to Verrett. Aimbert to Lajoie. Her 3. That's going to be short. Barbieri there for the rebound. She and Mulholland play give and go. Mulholland gets it back. Puts it on the floor to Chadwick. Goes up and under. And this, Jimmy, called that the Claire Signatovich special.
Yeah.
Going underhand and doesn't fall. Verrett, long 3. Can't flush that one.
Heat check.
She's not lacking confidence. That's one thing I'll say about Verrett. Chadwick with speed, misses, gets her own rebound, and then is fouled. Tara Aimbert, the guilty party, and that will send Julia Chadwick to the line for the first time tonight.
I really like how they open up that side of the floor. They've ran it for her all weekend where she can get downhill to her right hand with no help. And when you've got a center who can be so dominant on the inside and on the glass, and also one that can dribble down her defender, that's what makes Chadwick so special.
And she actually took a dribble, like not to the rim. Her first dribble actually gave the defender more time, which is why she was able to stop her at the rim, but ended up getting her rebound like she always does. Ended up working out well, but she had a better angle for that downhill attack if she just cuts off a little bit closer to that screen.
Chadwick began this game 4 for 4 and hasn't hit a shot since. And a foul was called. It was 7:12 remaining in the second. Haley Barbieri, the guilty party, and that's her first.
So that's that dribble handoff into a ball screen. You'll see it here, dribble handoff, ball screen. It's so difficult for that defender to have to fight through a dribble handoff, fight over a ball screen, and then you see she's just a little bit late and draws a foul. So it's a simple action, but it's been really good for Laval.
Khalifi back in the game for Laval. Mulholland and Lajoie fight for it. And it will be Gale's possession as a foul is called. Elodie Lajoie's first of the evening. Welts surveys the scene. Drives left. Mulholland. To Spencer. Back to Mulholland. 6 to go on the shot clock. Welts to her left. There she's looking to make one more pass. And you were just saying 3 seconds or less, it's got to be you. And she tried to make that pass and forced a turnover.
Well, and one of the things we saw yesterday with Queens too is just how stagnant their offense can get from the perimeter. And that whole possession, they're just looking at Chadwick to dictate and organize what they're doing instead of, you know, looking at the rim, looking at your post, then looking at an action. They just get a little bit stuck waiting for her to do something, right? They tried to put it in on the right side of the floor. It wasn't there. They moved it. Then they looked at her. She made the fist to come get a ball screen, get her back involved. But they need to have a little bit more.
The Government of Canada, through Sports Canada, is proud to support university sport in Canada and congratulates U Sports on the leading role it plays in developing Canadian student athletes.
Le gouvernement du Canada, par l'entremise du Sport Canada, est fier d'appuyer le sport universitaire canadien. Il tient également à féliciter U Sport pour le rôle de premier plan qu'il joue dans la formation des étudiants athlètes.
U Sports is proud to use products from Wilson Sporting Goods. For athletes to perform their best, they require their best. And that's exactly what Wilson has delivered for over 100 years. Wilson is the official basketball of U Sports, so get your official ball at shop.usports.ca.
U Sport est fier d'utiliser les équipements sportifs Wilson. Pour atteindre leur plus haut niveau de performance, les athlètes doivent avoir la meilleure des équipements possibles. Wilson s'en est assuré depuis plus de 100 ans. Wilson est le fournisseur officiel du ballon de match de U-Sport. Procurez-vous dès aujourd'hui le ballon officiel sur shop.usport.ca.
The University of Alberta and the U Sports Final 8 would like to thank their local sponsors that have helped make this tournament
Eric,
possible.
A
thank you to the Weston,
offense for Queens.
Explore
They're going to have to get
Edmonton,
something going here.
Global Edmonton,
Laval's kind of had their way in the second quarter.
All-Star
Kira
Productions,
mentioned it a little bit
Big
too.
Rock
Chatter
Brewery,
Drive. Some of their stuff is being ran
Bema
pretty well, but it's like the
William
difference
Huff,
between
Alberta
hugging
Basketball,
off a screen really
Coca-Cola,
tight and being a
the
little sloppy
RCMP,
curling off it is the difference
Fat
between an open
Franks,
shot and
Tim Hortons,
and one that's not
Booster
so
Juice,
open. So I think they just need to
Sherlock
be a little bit more
Holmes,
decisive with their
Legacy
cuts, a little
Fund,
bit
and
tighter
Campus
coming
and
off
Community
these off-ball
Recreation.
screens. And again, you've got to think Chadwick, those layups have been spilling off the rim. You've got to think those will start falling at some point. But there's also a little bit more that could be done coming out of these actions, like this little elbow split cut that they try to run that's poked away pretty nicely by Laval.
Spencer finds Welts. Gaudette. Shot doesn't fall.
You want to just leave it on? Yeah, we can do that.
Khalifi.
Oh, okay. I'll tell him then.
Beaudry-Blais to Lajoie. Looking for help. Fires it to Khalifi. Hands it off to Beaudry-Blais. A long three-pointer is good. Big shot there for the Rouge et Or. It's 28-17 as Gaudette. Looks like she's maybe cramping up. She had to take a knee momentarily, and she will take a seat on the bench. 11-point lead for Laval. McFarland. Welts. Spins, left hand. Queens can't buy a bucket right now as that rattled and around as that was Julia Denis draws the foul.
It's a little bit of a big one too on Chadwick. Only her second, but still for such a valuable player, I'm not sure you need her taking a foul 90 feet from her own rim.
Yeah, that's tough.
Lajoie, as we have a last-second substitution for Queens, as Barbieri checks back in. Lajoie finds Khalifi. Beaudry-Blais, nice pass on the ground. Denis makes no mistake. Finishing that one, it's a 13-point advantage for Laval.
It's hard to see the possession of that one, like if she actually had control or not, but it kind of looked like a travel.
It's funny, now of all times we're starting to miss some of these ones. McFarland, double team by Laval. And a foul called against Beaudry-Blais. Number 2 for her. So Queens has an opportunity. They've yet to score in this second quarter. Offense has really dried up for the Gales.
Well, and one of the things that's such a polar opposite for both of these teams offensively is that when Laval, especially their guards, when they're catching it, they are always a threat. They are always looking to attack. And even if they're not getting to the rim, you have to respect it. You have to respect them as an attacker. Your help side has to respect it, which then opens up all of those exterior passes out to the three because you can't just play them as a passer. When Queens is catching it on the perimeter, they're not looking for themselves and they don't look like an aggressor. So you don't have to play them as if they're going to the rim. And so now the passes are, you can play lanes, you can be a little bit more aggressive in terms of not allowing them to move the ball because they're not attacking. And that really changes things in how you defend, makes the defender's job lots easier.
You saw once again on that replay, again, dribble handoff into a ball screen. It's been so successful for them. And speaking about manipulating tags, manipulating help, it's Queens is getting scrambled a little bit. They've got to try to keep the ball out of the paint a little bit. And again, like Kira mentioned, just these guards are just so decisive with their catches, trying to get downhill, and it just seems like it's paint touch after paint touch after paint touch, which is so difficult once those dominoes start to fall as a defense to try to get back stable.
And it's also just exhausting as a defense trying to defend that for 4 quarters. Barbieri. Baseline. No look pass, no one home. As the Laval player takes a tumble. That is Catherine Champagne. Getting some playing time here in the last game of the weekend for the Rouge et Or. As Lajoie to inbound with 4:08 remaining in the second. 4:05, excuse me, and a timeout called.
Have to think if you're Queens, you're kind of feeling this thing slip through your fingertips just a little bit. It is early, but especially with how explosive Laval's offense can be and how, again, Queens maybe a little bit more of a team that's not built to go on explosive runs. You don't want to see this deficit climb to too much more than 11. So I think this is a good timeout to try to get things set a little bit, figure out how you're going to guard ball screens and see what you can do from there.
And Kier, like, we saw both these teams play up close yesterday, and I don't believe yesterday was a true indication of what this Queens team is capable of, but it seems like they're having a hard time getting their mojo going.
Yeah, their offense, their rhythm is tough, and like I said, I really think it's because they're not looking to score. They're relied on Donovan and Chadwick so much this year in terms of their offense, and the supporting offense just hasn't had to step up, and I think especially now with Donovan down, they need it even more, and it's just not there, and they're not looking for themselves, and if you look for yourself, it opens up so much more for your teammates, and they're not doing that right now. You got to catch the ball, you got to look at the rim, got to be an attacker first, and I just think right now they're kind of just passing it off and hoping somebody else will do it, and that creates a very 1-on-5 sort of feeling offensively, and then it's, yeah, you don't have a whole lot of rhythm because all the lanes are taken up and the passes aren't quite as open.
Leah Sophie Verrett for three. Oh, that is good. She's got a game-high 13 points.
So that's the identical play that Queens has run a bunch of times, that Iverson cut into a step-up ball screen, but Laval just ran it better, and everyone sits behind the ball screen, and then one of the best shooters in this tournament drills a three. So that just speaks to the execution level that we're seeing from Laval that's maybe a little bit higher than Queens.
Verrett with speed, going right at Smith.
I don't know if this is intentional. They haven't really ran this Iverson look until out of this timeout, and now they're running another set that Queens has ran multiple times this game, and I'm not sure if it's intentional as like psychological warfare or what, but you're either going to get another bucket out of it.
They execute so well.
Yeah.
It's so crisp, and like you said, guards catch the ball. They've got 2 feet on the ground. They've timed it well. They're looking at the rim.
Yeah. You have to respect every single person that catches the ball.
Smith to McFarland. Gaudette back in the game. Puts it on the floor just out of reach for McFarland.
Oh, such a nice cut, and it was there. It was there.
Verrett pulls up from the free throw line. Is good. She's got 15 points on 5 for 8 shooting. Verrett is also 3 for 4 from 3. Gaudette. And a foul called against Laval. Guilty party is Tara Aimbert. Foul number 2 for Aimbert. And she's having a conversation with the official, and she will take a seat as Julia Denichek's back in. Under to Mulholland in the corner. Smith for 3, good. That's just the shots that haven't been falling for Queens. Allie Smith is her first points of the game, makes it a 15-point affair.
Yeah, good recognition of that double. Those are those high percentage threes that you want to be taking.
Verrett. Lajoie. Looking for help, and just came a little too late. Travel called. 2 minutes on the nose left in the first half. Laval leads 37-22.
Come out in the press.
Chadwick with a lane, left hand. A little too much on that, and Holt with a burst of speed over half. To Verrett, back to Holt. Takes a look, finds Lajoie. Her three-pointer is off the mark. Well, Holland tips it straight to Chadwick, who fires it to Gaudette for 3. Too strong. Verrett basically kind of motions to her team saying, slow down. Verrett spins. Smith on Verrett.
Oh, good
Intercepted
read.
by Gaudette. Read perfectly.
A little bit of miscommunication on that horn set. Both were rolling to the rim.
Verrett with the rebound. Pulls up from 3, short. However, a teammate in perfect position to collect that one. Amy Waugh in the game for the first time. Verrett, 3 to go. Drives up and under, it's blocked by Chadwick. So Julia Chadwick showing why she was named the OUA Defensive Player of the Year. With 1 second left on the shot clock, Laval's going to call timeout.
Ooh, I'm interested to see what he does here. I love, like, their sets are so well executed. So this 1 second, I'm excited to see what he's got.
Yeah, you have a feeling it's going to be something nasty.
Yeah.
The way that all their sets have been so nice. When you get into that, okay, we got 1 second and it's got to be something quick. You look for something pretty with a backdoor
it's
cut.
Gonna be crisp.
Something a little screen the screener to the near corner.
It's going to be popping somebody out to the 3 so that they got to get extended out. It's going to be like some sort of cut to the rim. It's going to put it up.
Is there also an element of smoke them if you got them? It's their last game. I'm sure there's something they've been practicing all season long.
Absolutely.
They haven't had a chance to run.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity to see what, like, there's no way it's going to be something brand new, right? Like, it's going to be something they've practiced and talked about. It's like, all right, this is what we're going to be doing. This is what we're looking for. But you only have one option, right? It's got to go in your hand and up immediately.
Yeah, you don't have time to even put the ball on the floor, right? It's got to be catch and shoot.
Yeah. I think it's like 0.3 is technically
usually what it is, yeah.
How long it takes to leave your hand.
I always think back to Derek Fisher hitting that shot against, I think it was Phoenix back in the playoffs about 25 years ago. Didn't have much time. He was able to catch and shoot. So Verrett to inbound, that's actually surprising. She's not going to be the one catching
I think this is coming to the rim.
Oh, too long. Oh.
No, it worked. Brindley Holtz.
A long 1 second,
Yeah.
but very nicely executed to kind of clear things out with that pin down and get something at the rim. That is so hard to do. And again, just another great job by this Laval coaching staff.
Bobbled it and put it on the floor in one. I don't know that that's okay, but we'll take it.
Chadwick tried to cut through the force of Laval defenders and kind of feels like she's doing it by herself at times on the floor. And like we mentioned, the players on the kind of looking to Chadwick to kind of dictate out there. And she has a team high 9 points, 5 rebounds. But Laval also knows that they're trying to force it to number 21 in gold.
Well, there were at least 3 red jerseys surrounding her there, if not 4. So there has to be some sort of communication and awareness that, you know, you've done your job and you've attracted all of that defense, right?
And look, she gets her own offensive rebound. So shows what we know. 39-24, 6 seconds remaining. Khalifi is going to drive, puts it on the floor. Really nice execution. Finished there by Julia Denis. And at half, Laval comfortably ahead, 41-24 in our bronze medal matchup. Before we duck away for a break, Kira, I will start with you. Before we get the stats, what was the main storyline of that first half?
Just the levels of aggression and confidence on offense. Laval is so confident. Everybody wants to attack. Everybody wants to get to the rim. You collapse the defense. It opens up those shots on the exterior. But if they have an opening at the rim, they're all taking it. And so you have to get respected as a shooter, as a driver, as a passer. And that makes being the defensive team, Queens, it makes it really hard because you're guarding all these different things. But I think on the flip side of that, on the Queens end, they need more of their girls looking to attack the rim, looking to be an offensive presence, and right now they're just relying on Chadwick a little bit too much. And Laval knows that. They're playing them in that way, and things aren't as open because they're not being aggressive and actually attacking. And I think if they need to adjust that, moving into the second half.
Erica, it's so hard. We're not in the locker room, but what do you think is being said in that Queens locker room down by a substantial margin at half?
Yeah, I think that when you have a really rough half offensively, there's like, oh, we can talk about how our spacing can be better and our cuts can be more decisive, but like, honestly, sometimes you just need to like score the first basket coming out. Like, you need to get one and get that sigh of relief. So again, I don't really think when you're stuck 17 in a playoff setting this is not the time to lean on your depth. This is not the time to do anything. Like, you need your best players to be your best players. So they've got to find a way to get Chadwick in a position to score. They've got to find a way to get one of these guards an open look. And this is really the time to lean on your best players and have them show why they're your best players.
He is Eric Fawcett. She is Kira Lyons. I am Mark Margeau, and you're watching the bronze medal match of the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship, coming to you from the Saville Community Sport Centre in Edmonton. We will take a 10-minute pause. We'll be back to get you set for the second half between Laval and Queens. Laval out in front, 41-24. You're watching the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship on CBC Sports.
is that moment again, the one you dream of every night. La seule chose qui te préoccupe, c'est la gloire. Le cheminement de la réussite, of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows. Les sacrifices que tu fais, quand toutes les chances sont contre toi, when you can't push one more second, chase the glory. Visez haut.
Welcome back inside the Saville Community Sport Centre. It is our bronze medal matchup of the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship. Laval out in front of Queens 41-24. I'm Mark Majot. Please be joined alongside Kira Lyons and Eric Fawcett. Eric, I'll start with you. You mentioned a key for Laval is going to be their front court depth. They're really scoring at will, and they're led by Leah Sophie Verrett.
Oh, she's been just fantastic. Yeah. And you can tell, I mean, she's a gamer. I wasn't doing the game last night with you two on the broadcast, but watching it from the stands, I mean, she played with so much confidence, and she wasn't scared to talk either. So you can tell that she loves to step up in these big moments. We wondered who was going to have enthusiasm in a game like this, and she has definitely brought it, been such a leader for her team, both kind of emotionally as well as with the shot making.
And Kira, it's quite the deficit for Queens. What do they got to do to get themselves back into this game?
I mean, it always comes down to defense, in my opinion. You know, you go one possession at a time, and when you're down, no one shot is going to get you back within striking distance. It's every single possession, right? So need to get some stops, need to get the ball moving on offense, and just, one possession at a time, as cliche as it sounds.
Yeah, there's no such thing as an 18-point shot, at least yet. As Queens gets a stop on that first possession, so starts now. Queens took silver at this tournament last year and bronze in 2022, and Laval looking for their first medal at this tournament since 2019. And if you're jumping back and forth between this tournament and the men's tournament, the Laval Rouge et Or men's team stunned the nation with their victory. National champions.
I guess the women's team probably wouldn't know that yet.
I did notice someone from the staff was doing some hand signals to members on the bench, so I think they're aware. I don't know if they know the score or the details, but pretty impressive upset by the men's side.
I think that's one thing that shows and kind of just speaks to, like, as a program, that's why you want to host these types of things. That's why you want to be able to play important games in front of your home crowd, and I hope that inspires more teams around the country to want to host it. We know that University of Alberta has done an incredible job here hosting the women's event, and Queens here starting things off well, slowing down the offense of Laval, and you've just got to think if they're able to get a score here, it would be a big sigh of relief, as Laval's offense was so hot in the first half. Couple of turnovers to start.
Yeah, the Rouge et Or kind of stuck in mud a minute into this third quarter. Welts drives on the baseline, kicks it out to Barbieri for three. That's good. That's a big shot for Queens.
Barbieri's been one of the few that's really looking to get some offense going. Yeah. She's trying to get to the rim. She's taking open looks. It's great to see.
Verrett, a game high 15 points. Holt. Floater, contact, was bumped by Chadwick, and Laval gets it back. Aimbert to Holt. The Beaudry blade goes right at Chadwick and deflected out of bounds. It will be Queens ball, so the Gales getting a bit of momentum here early in the third. Mulholland to inbound. Gaudette. And we'll see who the guilty party is for Laval.
Even, I mean, I feel like I've said this a million times, but even there, Gaudette needs to look for herself, right? Defense is able to sag off of her and then make that pass into Chadwick so much more difficult because she's not looking as an attacker herself. Square up, look at the rim, be aggressive, and then that's going to open it up a bit more for her as well.
Gaudette spins, fires off the mark. Mulholland comes out of nowhere for the rebound. Barbieri. Gaudette, three.
There you go, there you go.
Exactly what you were just saying. It's now an 11-point lead for Laval.
Well, and that opened up because Barbieri was aggressive, right? Got to the middle of the floor, kicked it out when they collapsed. Oh, wow.
Holt, long three-pointer, just out of reach for Verrett.
Sheepish after that one, looking at her bench. She knows.
So an animated conversation just to right. Head coach Guillaume Giroux talking to his players on the bench as Queens starting to crawl back into this one. 7.5 remaining in the third. Chadwick. Three-pointer. No good. Baudry Blade to Verrett. With speed. Drives. That's a really good play there by Leah Sophie. Verrett doesn't score, but she draws a foul. That's going to be number 3 against Barbieri.
You can see how they always run this little dribble handoff into a ball screen, so she fakes the dribble handoff and just turns downhill. Again, kind of a crafty little counter to what they normally run.
And there's really not a whole lot else Barbieri could have done there, but Verrett just did a really good job of bringing her arms into that left arm of Barbieri, but tough call. I thought that was pretty good defense. But Verrett just sold it better.
I think that's why we keep talking too about why Queens needs to get downhill and get into the paint, because you know the rules of basketball are going to favor the offensive player kind of pushing tempo, getting into the paint there, and you've seen that Laval does that, and that's why they've been rewarded with a lot of free throws so far.
Mulholland to Welts. Chadwick. Chadwick has 11, looking to add to that. Just kind of underhands it up. Denis with the rebound. Quickly to Baudry Blais. Three-pointer by Lajoie is short. And we're going to have a tie-up between Mulholland and Denis. And that will be Queens ball. Really nice start to this third quarter for the Gales. Chadwick receives the pass. Put a little too much on that as 3 red jerseys swarmed her as Verrett slows things down. Holt. Denis calling for it. Here comes Allie Smith, 1-on-1 against Holt. Bump, and she was trying to draw contact. Good job there by Holt, and here comes Laval in transition. Holt. Picked off perfectly by Smith. Mulholland now.
Getting a little sloppy here.
Spins, fires. Doesn't go, but Julia Chadwick draws the foul. She is just 1 for 11 after a 4 for 4 start. 0 for 2 from the line. And a timeout called with 5:52 remaining. You're watching the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Bronze Medal Championship on CBC Sports.
They don't do it for the likes or for the shares. They do it for the fun of it, for the thrill, for the camaraderie, for the memories. CBC Sports, just because they love it.
Welcome back inside the Saville Community Sport Centre. 5:52 remaining in the third quarter of our bronze medal matchup between Laval and Queens. The Rouge et Or find themselves out in front by 13, and Julia Chadwick looks to shrink that lead as she hits her first free throw of the evening. She's had a really impressive tournament that we've mentioned a couple times, but in the quarterfinal on Thursday, 25 points and 27 rebounds.
That's absurd.
It's
27 rebounds. That is absurd.
Orlando Magic Shaq numbers that she put up on Thursday night. And well on her way to another double-double tonight. And Queens will get the ball back.
I did think it was a little funny after the first quarter when you said she only had 4 rebounds, and that's maybe the only player in the country that could be on pace for 16 in a game, and you're like, wow, she's a little behind her pace, you know?
Oh, had her sooner.
Lajoie for 3 is good.
Didn't matter.
It's a big shot for Laval. As you kind of got the sense that Queens was creeping back into this one. Laval looking to keep that double-digit buffer. They lead by 14. Gaudette for 3. That doesn't fall, but a foul is called. And the Gales will inbound. Foul will go against Sabrine Khalifi. Foul number 2 for her. Welts. 8 to go. Welts and Chadwick play give and go, and Welts with a burst of speed. Defended extremely well by Julia Denis, and here come the Rouge et Or. Khalifi. Hands it off to Beaudry Blake, gets bumped by Mulholland. Doesn't matter, because she's going to heave that 3 and makes no mistake. That was a long 3-pointer. Puts her in double digits and makes it a 17-point game. Nice pass down low to Chadwick. However, a foul was called, and Chadwick's been taking a beating tonight. It feels like Laval is always trying to put an elbow or an arm on her, and she's kind of the straw that is stirring the Queens' offensive drink right now, but she'll be sore after this weekend.
I think she's probably pretty used to it. When you rebound like she does, you don't get those without a lot of bumps and bruises.
I hope on the flight home she gets the window seat so she can stretch out. She's earned it. Smith, down low to Chadwick. Off the glass, too strong. McFarland almost tipped it right to her, and here comes Khalifi with speed to Lajoie. Denis, off the glass and in. That's good, so Laval stretching their lead. It's 51-32. Welts, 4 minutes remaining in the third. Up, drive, nice play there by Emma Welts. Aggressive take, and it works. Lajoie for 3. Too strong, Gaudette with the rebound. And a travel, Gaudette just shuffled her feet. And we'll have some substitutions as Katrina Redden is checked back in for Queens.
Barbieri off the floor with foul trouble. Chadwick goes off just for a rest. Like, this is where Queens need someone to step up. This is not a lineup they've played a lot of this season, and someone's got to make something happen.
Aimbert. Foul's called against Bella Gaudette. That's number 2 for Gaudette. Khalifi fires it over Beaudry Blais. 5 to go. Verrett rising, firing, short. Aimbert in perfect position for that rebound as Renan tried to rip that loose. Just a little too aggressive. She'll pick up foul number 2, and that will send, oh, excuse me, no shots, just a simple inbound. Khalifi. Strong pass, Beaudry Blais. Fouled, this time Michaela McFarland, the guilty party. That's gonna be foul number 2. And now it will send Frederick Beaudry Blais to the line. This will be her second trip. She's 2 for 2.
We've seen a lot of those fouls this week where girls are driving to their left hand and then they go to their inside right hand to try to finish and bring the ball through the defender's arms, and they've gotten the benefit of it all weekend, but those are very difficult as a defender.
3 minutes left in the third. Welts with speed. Swarmed, double team, almost stolen by Lajoie. Renan. Nice pass to McFarland, put a little too much on that. She's fighting. And there was bodies and limbs flying everywhere. And that will send Michaela McFarland to the line to shoot 2.
It's a good find. Gotta bury that one, though.
I think that's something when you look back on the first 27 minutes of this game, just the shots in the paint that haven't fallen for Queens has really been the difference. I mean, that's what Queens wants to do. They want to pound it inside and get shots at the rim, but normally those shots are falling at a 50 or 60% clip, and right now when it's just hovering between 30 and 40, that's how you fall behind a team like Laval that shoots and makes a lot of threes.
Nice rebound by Renan, an offensive rebound, and she is fouled.
One of the craziest team stats from yesterday and today. So yesterday going into the half in the semifinal, Laval was shooting 50% from the 3. And it's not like they took 2 threes, you know, like they fire them at a high clip. Yeah. And today going into the half, 45.5%. Like that's just, for the amount that they shoot, that is so high.
I think you're thrilled if you can maintain that possession or that number, but that's near impossible.
And it didn't drop off that much yesterday against Sask either. Like it was still at 43 or 44%, I think, by the end of the game.
I mean, that also speaks. I know we're not calling a Saskatchewan game currently, but I couldn't believe the composure that Saskatchewan had while Laval was bombing 3 after 3. I think it was 16-2 early, and I was just so impressed with Saskatchewan's ability to come back, but that's how Laval can play. They can run up 16 points quick on a team as talented as Saskatchewan or like we've seen Queens.
Diarra fires it to Verrett. Lajoie for 3, short. Barbieri back in the game, and she collects that rebound.
Yeah, I really like how their offense looks a lot more when Barbieri's out there. Even just the pace of them bringing it up the floor. She has that aggression in her, wants the ball, wants to push the pace, and I like that. I think it's a good look, so hopefully she can stay out of foul trouble for the remainder of the game.
Julia Chadwick back at the line, 2 for 4, 13 points and 6 rebounds. Queens still hanging around, down by 15. 2 minutes left in the third. One for 2, Holt there for the rebound, finds Verrett. Holt, 5 to go. Off the glass, pretty looking shot there by Brinley. Holt makes the defender Chadwick go flying by. Brinley Holt having a nice night so far.
Yeah, that's a tough shot.
Welts. finds its way to Gaudette. Chadwick being guarded by Verrett. Quite the matchup there. And a travel called. Good job there by Verrett. She is listed at 5'3", but going up against the 6'1", excuse me. Shows no fear. 1:16 left in the third. Verrett, a game high 17 points. Audrey Blais has that poke loose. Good job there by Gaudette. Read perfectly by Holt. She has all the time in the world and makes no mistake. She's got 13. Really nice heads-up play there. She's only in her first season in U Sports. Barbieri with a nice response. Didn't want to fall, but eventually did.
I was thinking it was going to stop there for a second.
Brinley Holt, a member of the RSEQ All-Rookie team, but she's going to be a force to be reckoned with throughout her U Sports career. Lajoie. 6 to go. Has that whacked loose. McFarland hands it off to Gaudette. Barbieri to Gaudette in the corner. Shot clock turned off. Gaudette baseline. Nice touch by Bella Gaudette. Makes it back to a 15-point game. Verrett, 3, 2, underhand, but is fouled by Welts. And Leah Sophie Verrett, a perfect 4 for 4 on the line tonight, looking to add to her total and extend her team's lead.
She's good at drawing those. I mean, as a team, they're good at drawing them. Like being small, being aggressive, they're being rewarded for going to the rim with confidence. Yeah, good at drawing those.
Two for 2. Verrett has 19, and that should do it for the third quarter. Barbieri, that's going to be well short. And at the end of the third quarter, Laval out in front, 59-42. You are watching the bronze medal matchup of the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship on CBC Sports.
The exchange was awesome. Yeah.
You have the power to inspire and impact the climate.
Queens is down by 17 points with 10 minutes to go in their season. Silver medalist last year, bronze in 2022, and there you look at Laval, 10 minutes away from bringing home their first medal at this tournament since 2019. And Queens has their work cut out for them. Kira, through 3 quarters, what's jumping out to you on the box score?
The two biggest things to me are shooting percentage. Laval is just shooting at such a high clip. They're 50% from the field, 60 in 2-point, and 37% from 3. Like, they're just so efficient with the shots that they're taking. And Queens is, 32 from the field, which is a pretty significant drop. And then just points from turnovers, like, they're very similar. Laval with 14 and Queens with 15. So Queens doing a better job taking care of the ball in the second half. But Laval's really been able to convert those turnovers to points with 23-15 in favor of Laval.
And Eric, how fun has it been to watch Leah Sophie Verrett? 19 points, 3 rebounds. She's been all over the court this weekend.
Oh, yeah, I think it's so fun to watch guards who can make shots, guards who can get downhill, and everyone loves cheering for a little bit of an underdog. So when you see some of these guards that are maybe a little bit short for their position but play fearlessly, those are really easy players to cheer for. And you kind of got to feel she's got 1 or 2 more big shots in her left in this one.
10 minutes to go in the bronze medal matchup. 10 minutes to go for both these teams' U Sports season. They're playing for a medal, not the color they were hoping for, but still an opportunity to do something very inspiring. As Mulholland, nice pass to Gaudette on the floor. That three-pointer off the mark. Chadwick fighting with Holt. And Holt with a burst of speed.
Holt has 5 steals. Like, I mean, I assume that was a steal because she just took it. I don't know if she actually had possession, but I'm counting that one. 5, yeah, like having a night.
Unbelievable. She was on the all-rookie team this year in RSAQ, and if she keeps that up, she'll be on the all-defensive team and maybe up for Defensive Player of the Year next year. Quite the bright career ahead of her as Gaudette can't quite get the bounce she was hoping for. Denis fights for it. And here comes Khalifi. The team leads by 17. Beaudry play to Holt.
Just everybody that touches the ball on this team is just, they want to go. They want to attack.
Travel is called, so it will be Queen's ball. Welts. To Mulholland. Takes a look around, finds Barbieri. Nice play there by Julia Chadwick. She's got 16 points. And Queens is still hanging around. Khalifi. Beaudry. Nice look for her. She's got 14 points. Laval has 3 players in double-digit scoring. Verrette, Holt, and Beaudry. Chadwick with a nice response of her own. She's got 18.
Finally, those shots at the rim are starting to fall. Those are the ones that have been missing for her all night, and she had the reverse layup on the previous play and gets that one to fall too.
Holt, a long three-pointer, too strong. Gaudette controls the rebound. Gaudette. Chadwick. 3 jerseys swarm her. Three-pointer here for Welts is good.
There you go, nice. 3
Laval defenders were drawn immediately to Chadwick, and Welts was left wide open for 3.
And that's one of those things that they were struggling a little bit with in the first half. They were collapsing on Chadwick, but then they weren't getting those passes out. Good awareness, hit a shooter in rhythm, nicely done.
Denise 3 off the mark. And Holt just a little too aggressive. She bumps Gaudette as Ellery Lajoie is going to check back in for Laval. As Brynlee Holt will take a seat. So just a 12-point lead for Laval. Still in control, but Queens is making this one interesting. Chadwick. To Mulholland.
Oh.
Gaudette at the U Sports logo through the legs of Chadwick, and they turn it over. You saw something out there, Kara?
Yeah, it just a little early. Like, Laval did a good job not collapsing on her right away, and she wasn't looking at the rim, so you don't have to play her as a shooter, so then you can stay out and don't have to reach in on her as an attacker, right? Need to be a little bit more aggressive, look for yourself, collapse that in, then that pass out will be more open.
Barrett. Off a foot. It will remain in possession of the Rouge et Or. Beaudry. Denis almost had that poke loose by Mulholland. Lajoie. Khalifi, corner, 3, air ball.
I think she clipped it.
A little bit. Got a little bit of it, and here comes Welts. Tough shot, can't get that to fall. Verrette with the rebound, her 4th. Looking to add to her game high 19 points. Khalifi. Verrette. Takes a walk. 3 to go. She's got to get something up with speed with her left hand. Denis there for the rebound. And it will remain Queen's ball. Timeout called, 5:50 remaining in the 4th. Laval leads 61-49. As we'll take a look at how we got here. So Laval in control, but Queens is still hanging around, down by 12.
Yeah, a bit more aggression offensively, and to Eric's point, a few of those around the rim bunnies are starting to fall as well, right? Like it wasn't that they weren't getting some of those opportunities earlier. They just, the ones that they were getting weren't falling, especially for Chadwick. So it's nice to see that it's happening for her a little bit here in the fourth.
Yeah, we were looking at 33% at the rim for Queens at the quarter break, and you just knew that that was not going to be the case for the rest of the game. And again, as a basketball team, you can't always look at the end of the possession, whether it went in or not, and decide whether it was a good one. You're looking for high-quality shots, and you do feel as though a lot of those shots early were of high quality for Queens around the rim. They just weren't falling, and they were destined for a little bit of positive regression. And then on the other side, Laval, who is really hot from three, is starting to miss a few. And that's been just the opportunity for Queens to get a little bit of daylight here, and we'll see what they can do in this final just under 6 minutes to bring it back.
Kira, if you were the head coach of Laval, up by 12 with 5:50 remaining, what would you be saying in that huddle right now?
I mean, stick to what's been working, right? Like, everybody stay aggressive offensively. I mean, yeah, like, you don't want to change anything. It's you're up. You've been up almost the entire, or have been up the entire game pretty much. So stick to the game plan. Continue doing what you're doing, and keep them off the glass, right? Like, there needs to be a little bit of awareness of they can't have second chances, and we can't be fouling them. One of the ways that they could get back into this game is sending them to the free throw line, especially Chadwick. So being aware that as soon as those shots go up, you need to box out. You need to clean up the boards for sure, especially defensively.
Rennan's three doesn't fall, and a great job there to allow Verrett to collect the rebound. Baudry Blais to Khalifi.
Nice play.
Really nice pass and really nice finish. Baudry Blais, 16 points. It's a 14-point advantage.
Nice pass.
Barbieri, 5 minutes remaining. Smith. Chadwick for three. Off the mark, but a really nice play there by Rennan to keep it in bounds.
And we got a shot clock reset that shouldn't have been, so they'll correct that. And always a little bit more difficult for an offense now having to inbound it with 6 seconds as opposed to playing out of that little bit of chaos there.
And they had some, somebody with some height around the rim in that as well. That's tough.
Luckily, they do draw a foul here coming off that stagger, and they will get a reset. So the bad luck didn't continue, and they'll have a little bit more time to make something happen here.
Inside the Saville, they just showed the table of bronze medals. So the winner of this game will be getting some hardware. Rennan tumbles, called for the travel. We are going to do the medal ceremony for this game after the gold medal game. We're going to try to keep things on schedule the best we can. So if you're tuning in to see some medals get handed out, first of all, come on back at 7:30 local, 9:30 Eastern time for a gold medal matchup between Carleton and Saskatchewan. Khalifi heaves it, doesn't fall. Rebound grabbed by Rennan. Barbieri. Nice pass to Chadwick. Again, three red jerseys swarm her instantaneously, and Rennan's three falls. So Queens not going away, 63-52 with over 4 minutes remaining. Khalifi. Verrett. Denis. Baudry Blais. Khalifi. 1-on-1 against Rennan. Hoop and the harm. That's a big bucket there for Sabrine Khalifi. And she has a chance to continue to extend this Rouge et Or lead. Khalifi. Her first trip to the line. She's been quiet offensively tonight, just 2 points. But she's been a big part of her team all weekend. completes the 3-point play. All her points in that game came on that one drive.
Yeah, her intensity is contagious.
Absolutely. Renan negotiates the baseline, doesn't step out of bounds. Barbieri launches a three, too strong. Renan with the rebound, has that blocked. Julia Denis comes flying in to swat that away. And Laval, their bencher-ups, they realize they're getting closer and closer, and Queens has called a timeout with 3:31 remaining. 66-52, the Rouge or lead. And we're gonna stay right here with just 3.5 minutes left. Queens is gonna need a miracle, down by 14 with 3.5 remaining.
Yeah, they've actually been able to get a decent amount of offensive rebounds, but haven't been able to convert that into extra points. Like they're crashing hard and they're using their length to their advantage, but they haven't been able to finish them.
This is where you've got to think that we haven't really seen Queens play a lot of full court pressure or anything trapping in the three-quarter court, but at this point with 3 minutes and 31 remaining, you might have to wonder if they're going to have to start cranking up that intensity and maybe letting a few more threes fly than they're used to. And this is where being kind of an inside-out team is a bit more of a challenge. It's a little tougher to play from behind that way. So you got to think of the timeout right now. It might be pressure. It might be some plays for three. But you're starting to get into a little bit of that desperation mode.
Queens down by 14, 3.5 minutes remaining. Do they have a rally in their bones? We mentioned it off the top, but very cool to see lots of the fans make the trip out west for this. There's lots of Queens fans in attendance and lots of fans of Laval that have made the trip out west. They're sitting right behind us, and three-pointer by Renan is good.
Goodness.
Didn't look like it was going to fall, and it did. So Queens keeping this interesting.
Well, it's not an angle you normally see from what she's 6'3", 6'4". You don't usually see the angle coming off of a girl's hands like that. So
look like a shot put. It will remain Laval ball. Their fans are right behind us, and they were glued to the men's final during halftime of this one. And they're looking to bring home double medals as Laval calls time out of their own with 3:08 remaining. Just making sure all of their ducks are in a row with an 11-point lead.
It's worth noting we saw Queens just crash down on the drive there and slap across the arm. I mean, that was only their second team foul, so this is again too where you can be a little aggressive, trying to get steals, get some. You know, if you take a foul, you got two here that aren't going to send anyone to the line, and those are chances to be aggressive and go for steals and see if you can get an extra possession.
Just a reminder, at 7:30 local time and 9:30 out east, we have the gold medal final between the #1 seed Saskatchewan Huskies and the #2 seed Carleton Ravens. Saskatchewan disposed of Laval last night in the semifinals, and Carleton won their 7th consecutive over Queens, dating back to last season. That should be a good one, but this one is far from over. Laval has been in control the duration of the evening. How about that for a Canadian look, eh? 3 Mounties. I saw one of them.
Tim Hortons right behind him.
It's funny, I did see one of the Mounties in line at Tim Hortons, and I thought, holy smokes, this is a stereotype. 3:08 remaining, Laval to inbound. Khalifi to Lajoie. Verrett, 7 to go. Pulls up, big shot there. She's got 21.
With ease.
When Laval has needed a bucket, they've looked to #4. RSEQ Player of the Year, first team All-Star, playoff MVP, and a bronze medal is looming. Her team leads by 13. Very aggressive. She goes behind the back, being watched by Gaudette. Chadwick switches onto her, and a foul's called. That's going to be foul #3 for Chadwick. And a timeout called by Queens. 2:28 remaining. Smoke them if you got them. Teams using all their timeouts here late in the fourth. So we've kind of grinded to a bit of a halt here late in the fourth, and I personally think this favors Laval. They're obviously up by 13. I think they'll take as much time as they possibly can, and Queens, this has got to be it's a frustrating feeling if you're Queens, right? You can't really get anything going and stop and start. You're going to need a miracle if you're Queens.
One, like, you talk about wanting to up the pressure and, you know, trying to go for some steals, but Queens doesn't match up well with Laval in that respect, right? Like, you got two, like, I mean, Gaudette did a really good job pressuring Verrett there, but you bring your bigs out, you're fouling, right? They just don't have the matchups all over the floor to be able to do that successfully, maybe for short bursts, but it's not their game, right? And that is Laval's game, and they're used to it. So it doesn't bode well for Queens, you know, coming down to the wire, having to switch it up a little bit and play that way.
It's kind of an interesting note just as we look at kind of, you know, zooming out and looking at the 8 teams that are here to see the styles that have kind of won at the highest level and to see the 2 teams in the finals and to see, like, okay, Saskatchewan and Carleton, like, guards that can make plays, perimeter defenders that can absolutely clamp down, and teams that are comfortable playing kind of that aggressive trapping style of defense when needed to. And you kind of wonder in a moment like this if Queens kind of wishes they had some of those pieces.
That pass goes through the hands of Chadwick, and she says, sorry. I'm not a great mouth reader, but I could read what that one was, and had a chance to cut that deficit. Laval still leads by 13. They are in control of this one as Aimbert to Verrett. 21-6 for Léa Sophie Verrett. Beau dribble. Stolen,
nice.
Barbieri.
Now got to convert.
Almost stolen right back, and Laval will regain possession under 2 minutes remaining.
Well, and if it's not a style of play that you're used to playing, then transitioning into offense out of that too, obviously not going to be a comfortable thing either.
Not at all, and I love that, the way that they hard hedge, trap that pick and roll. Maybe they're not comfortable in full court pressure, but yeah, trap the pick and roll, and then like you said, they're a team that wants to play more methodically. They would maybe not ready in that moment to push things ahead and try to get a tough one. And again, in late games all weekend long, you know who's closing it out for Laval right here. It's Verrett.
She will go to the line looking to add to her game-high 21 points. This tournament's been so fun. You get to see teams and players you don't necessarily get to see up close that often. And watching her has been an absolute treat.
Yeah, I think we talked about this in the semi yesterday, but one of my favorite things is just, you know, she's always talking to her teammates, giving them instruction, talking about what she wants from them. So she's not only an emotional leader with her style of play and lead by example, but she's also vocally giving them instruction and such a good floor general, always recognizing when to slow things down, what they need to be calling. She gets them organized, but also pushes the pace and tempo, scores. Like, she's just a very well-rounded player and an ideal style point guard. Just so composed but aggressive at the same time and smart, high IQ.
Yeah, guards win in March, and again, that's why I think we're going to see the 2 teams in the finals that are there as well. 2 very talented guards, and I kind of think if you're going to make that gold medal game, you probably need ball handlers that embody the traits that you just mentioned. So, and again, something that about Verrett that needs to be mentioned, like only her 3rd year of eligibility. Like that's the kind of point guard that, and to think about the fact that they're on Laval, there are no players in their 4th or 5th years. Like this entire team could be back, and to think about maybe well on their way to a bronze medal here, you've got to think that in the next couple of years, the chance at a gold could be very well on the horizon.
Yeah, we talk a lot in sports about unfinished business. I think this Laval team certainly has a lot of unfinished business. We mentioned off the top, last night was their first loss of the entire season. Like, that is a ridiculous run they went on. They should be very proud of their season.
Oh, go up with that.
Barbieri for 3. That's short, coming out of a Queens timeout. 90 seconds remaining. 3 gold jerseys. Swarm, I believe that's Aimbert on the floor.
So this is one of the most famous plays in basketball. Brad Stevens winner, where they throw it over the top to the post to get that swing back three. So that's like the number one need a three play. If you were to put that into Google or search it on Twitter, you're going to see exactly what we just saw from Queens, and it was well executed. It's just, as has been the case for them, the shot didn't fall.
Wells spins, underhand, no good. Mulholland with the rebound. Gaudette took a couple dribbles before a three, and that's tipped. She gets it right back. 10 seconds to go on the shot clock. Barbieri launches a three. That one misses right. Great box out there by Lajoie over Chadwick. And Chadwick picks up foul number 4.
So we'll see this play again. So it's throw over the top, then watch the perimeter, the three-point line. You see that pin back that Chadwick sets. And so, I mean, a beautifully executed play. You'll see that called the Brad Stevens winner play. Brad Stevens, of course, who was at Butler, popularized it, brought it to the Boston Celtics. So just as the coaching nerd in me absolutely loves, that's one in the Hall of Fame of basketball plays. You just witnessed something that's, and again, beautifully executed for Queens. It just spills off the rim, and I feel like that's the embodiment of just what's been, unfortunately, a very rough night for them.
It's funny, though, because what I see in that is that you had the layup. Right? Like, you don't just need a three, you just need to score, and you need to be looking for yourself, and that pass comes over, you catch and go right in your steps. It's a layup, right? Like, the three isn't just what you need points.
Barbieri lays it in under a minute remaining, and Queens not giving up. Welts with the foul. It's going to be number 4 for Emma. As Laval is 52 seconds away from U Sports bronze. Their first medal at this tournament since a silver in 2019. And I mentioned it's really fun to see, teams and players we don't necessarily get to see in person here. I'll ask both of you don't have to tell me what, but both of you are involved in basketball. Have you seen a couple of plays that you're jotting down to bring to your respective clubs after this?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's why I was so interested to see what that 1 second play was from Laval. Like, I've been taking notes all week.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm
nice.
As big of a Lisa Tomaitis fan as there is. So to watch Saskatchewan, yesterday for the Saskatchewan game, I went and sat right behind their bench. I wanted to see the way that she ran timeouts. I wanted to see what they ran, and for her it is not even as much plays that she ran, but I love that she sat for most of the game. She was calm, and so her players were calm. The way she communicated to her players was so concise and precise. So that's something that I definitely like to take away. But I'll have to go watch back too and see if there's some plays I can grab.
"17 seconds remaining, 76-59, Laval leads. Three-pointer by Gaudette falls, and that might be the last points of this game. Mulholland. The Baudry blade of to Khalifi, and the Laval Rouge et Or are bringing home a bronze medal. They win 76-62, and they are U Sports bronze medal champions. Obviously not the color they were hoping for, but they have a lot to be proud of. They came in Thursday in a very intimidating atmosphere, taking on the host team Alberta, were able to survive in advance, played a really tough Saskatchewan team last night, and then tonight escape with a bronze medal.
I think they have to just be so proud of how they played. They played 3 fantastic basketball games. One of them they weren't victorious in, but I still think you look at how they played and said, wow, that is the way that they played, so connected, hit so many shots, created so many open looks. They've got to be so proud of the way they played, and the fact that they can all run it back next year. I mean, I feel like we could be calling these same games the same time next year.
Absolutely. Lots of smiles on the Laval side. And the Queens Gales, a great run over the last few years as Bridget Mulholland, player of the game for Queens. She played a ton of minutes tonight. And that's one tough thing about university sports, right, is you see the dejection in some of these players, but I think both these teams have a lot of opportunity to be back here next year. And no surprise, player of the game for the Rouge et Or, Leah Sophie Verrett. And she's bringing up Julia Denis.
Oh, I love that.
Making sure she gets player of the game.
It's one thing, like, throughout this whole process watching Laval, like, they are a team and they really love each other. Anytime they're doing something good, they're pointing at the bench, they're looking at each other, they're cheering. They have such good leadership. I mean, just demonstrated by Verrett here. Like, yeah, they're such a good team, and that's a big reason why they're as successful as they are.
Yeah, a really special moment there. So they're not going to get their medals immediately. As I mentioned, we're going to save all the medal presentations for after the gold medal matchup. So the party can't begin. It's just the snacks don't arrive for another couple hours. To see how that's going to go. So these teams are going to shake hands. And I believe we're going to be joined by Leah Sophie Verrett after she's done congratulating Queens. The best tradition in sports is the handshake. Great sportsmanship between both these teams. It's all smiles on the Laval side. As the Queens Gales give a round of applause to the fans that traveled out west to support them. As Laura Donovan, unfortunately, her U Sports career came to an end last night with an injury. And Julia Chadwick wraps up a great U Sports career. Both those players are graduating, as well as Bridget Mulholland. So 3 players moving on. And Laval, no players are moving on. They're able to bring back their entire roster. As some of the fans here, as Saskatchewan's already starting to warm up, they got a job to do. And shout out to Brad Hamilton here from the U of A. He's doing a better job at coordinating interviews. We have a French broadcast just to our left. Pretty easy to find someone who speaks French on that Laval team, I imagine. As the fans are sticking around as we have one more game to go. As we are going to be joined by Leah Sophie Verrett. Plop that headset on, and joining us, well, congratulations. How does it feel to be bronze medal champions at the U Sports National Championships?
We're really happy with our past game. We had an enormous deception, but we wanted to bounce out of it, and we used it to fuel us for this game. So we're extremely happy, and we're convinced that we're going to come back, and this time we're going to come back for the gold medal. But we're happy. We got some things to learn, but we're going to bounce back from this.
It's been an absolute pleasure to watch you this week. Not only your skills on the basketball floor, but who you are as a leader to this team. It comes through in your energy. It comes through in the way that you speak to your teammates and how you interact. And obviously, just a beautiful moment there, giving her player of the game. And watching your team, it seems like a really special group. You guys are always celebrating together. You're pointing at one another when you're doing good things. How important is that? And how can you speak to the culture of Laval?
I think that's what makes a winning team, not only provincial but nationals. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to build here. And I'm super proud of Julia that had an incredible game, and I wanted her to feel special, and because she is special and she had an extremely great game. It's her first year, and I wanted her to be rewarded for that. So I'm extremely happy to be. It's a little something. I know it meant a lot to her, but it meant even more to me to do that.
Well, congratulations. I don't take too much of your time. I want you to go have some fun with your teammates. Your team's bounced back excellent after your first loss of the season. Congratulations on a well-deserved bronze medal. Enjoy some fun with your teammates, and we'll see you after the gold medal game when you get some hardware.
Thank you.
And I guarantee we'll see you next year, too.
Thank you. And thank you for the tournament. It was absolutely incredible.
Well, it's been our pleasure to watch. That's Leah Sophie Verrett, player of the game, but she handed off to her teammate, Julia Denis. Leah Sophie, 25 points, 6 rebounds. Kira, I have a feeling we'll be hearing her name one more time as we announce the All-Star teams after the gold medal game.
Yeah, I can't imagine she's going to be left off of there. She was absolutely phenomenal. Just an absolute pleasure to watch. And you know, as this game grows in Canada, you know, basketball is becoming such a popular thing. Like, we need leaders and representation of really good players and people, and I think she embodies that wonderfully.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to watch, not just her, but watch this whole Laval team again, starting with Thursday night, coming into a raucous, intimidating environment, and they weren't scared at all. Laval takes home bronze, 76-62. Eric, this is your last broadcast with us this week, and I just want to give you a massive thank you for joining us on the booth. It's been a pleasure working with you. I know we've worked some other games in the past, but I mean this sincerely. You're one of the smartest basketball minds we have in Edmonton, so it's a pleasure to work alongside you with these games.
Oh, and you make it so easy, Mark. I always appreciate that. And Kira, it's so nice to join you. I wish we could have been on for more games, but and thank you to Grayson, who I did some other games with, and the biggest of thanks to Scott back in the booth, all the guys, our camera operators, the guys on the replay. Again, the production this weekend has just been so good, and it's made our jobs very easy. And while I am sad this is my last game, I'm ready to go grab something to eat and post up for what's going to be, I think, a legendary game here between Saskatchewan and Carleton.
Yeah, we still got to work. You can at least grab a pizza and beer and kick back for the gold medal game. But seriously, Eric, thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure working with you. Kira, you're going to stick around. We have one more game. Doug McLean's going to slide in. But that does it for the bronze medal matchup. Laval wins 76-62. They are U Sports bronze medal champions. We'll be back in 25 minutes to get you set for Saskatchewan and Carleton battling for gold. You're watching the U Sports Final 8 Women's Basketball Championship on CBC Sports. We'll see everyone real soon.